Hello fan. Welcome to another unmissable update about the Detroit Lions. Two names in the crosshairs for 2025 free agency. Before we continue with the latest news, leave a like to support the channel. It's quick, free, and makes all the difference, so we can continue bringing you incredible content. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, take advantage now to join our community. Our goal this month is to reach 2,000 subscribers, and with your support, we'll get there. Now, stay until the end, because today's information will surprise you. Let's go. NFL free agency is coming, and the Detroit Lions may be about to make strategic moves to strengthen their roster for the 2025 season. With the cautious and well-planned approach that General Manager Brad Holmes has taken in recent years, the team will likely look for reinforcements that fit perfectly into the team's philosophy, rather than simply going after the biggest names available. But who could be on the Lions' radar? 97.1, the ticket analysts Scott Gator Anderson and Doug Karsch have identified two players who could be interesting targets when the market opens. Wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine and cornerback Paulson Adebo. Both could add a lot to the roster and help Detroit take another step towards the top of the league. Westbrook-Ikhine is a name that has attracted attention due to his solid performance, even in an unfavorable scenario. Last season, he recorded 32 receptions for 497 yards and 9 touchdowns playing for the Tennessee Titans, a team that has faced enormous difficulties, especially at the quarterback position. Even without an efficient offense around him, the receiver has managed to stand out, and his profile could be exactly what the Lions are looking for to complement their wide receiver group. Karsch pointed out that the player's size and physical presence could be a key factor for Detroit. At 6 feet 0 inches, Westbrook-Ikhine has already shown that he can be a threat in the red zone, something that the Lions value when building their offense. This guy was the third wide receiver on his previous team, but he still managed to get to the end zone frequently. He's available in free agency and could be a perfect addition to this offense, the analyst said. On the other hand, Paulson Adebo emerges as an intriguing option for the Lions secondary. The cornerback had been a key player in the New Orleans Saints defense before suffering a fractured femur in Week 7 of last season. Despite the injury, he has already demonstrated his value in the NFL and, if he returns to his best form, could be a great addition to a young group of defensive backs in Detroit. Anderson noted that Adebo fits the profile of player Brad Holmes usually bets on, talented, but with some issues to be addressed, which could make him a viable option financially. If the Lions don't re-sign Carlton Davis, who may be out of budget, Adebo could be an interesting name. He's 6 feet 1 inch, weighs 200 pounds, and before the injury, was playing at a high level. In addition, he'll only be 26 next season, Anderson analyzed. The expectation now is to see if the Lions will actually follow this line of thinking and consider these two signings. The free agency market may be unpredictable, but one thing is certain. Detroit will not make rash moves. If Brad Holmes decides to go after Westbrook-Ikhine and Adebo, it will be because he sees in pieces that can take the team to another level. Lions fans can expect smart and well-planned decisions in the coming days. With free agency approaching, the Lions should look for strategic reinforcements, and the names of Nick Westbrook-Ikhine and Paulson Adebo have been mentioned as possible targets. What do you think of these options? Would they be good additions to the team, or are there other players you'd like to see in Detroit? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. In my opinion, Westbrook-Ikhine could be a useful piece on offense, especially in the red zone, while Adebo, if he gets back to his best form, could bring more security to the secondary. Now, I want to hear from you. Should the Lions invest in Milton Williams? Analysis of the possible signing of the Super Bowl standout. Let's understand everything now. At the end, leave your comment. The Detroit Lions are about to face a decisive offseason, and one of the main focuses will be to strengthen the defensive line. After watching the Eagles dominate the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, many Detroit fans left the game wishing for a defensive line as imposing as Philadelphia's. And this idea was not limited to fans. Alex Kay, from Bleacher Report, believes that the Lions can seek this reinforcement directly on the free agent market. Kay listed the ideal fits for some of the main names available in this free agency and projected that the Lions should try to sign Milton Williams, defensive tackle of the Eagles. According to him, Williams would be a perfect complement to the Detroit Lions defensive unit, bringing more solidity to the sector and forming a respectable partnership with Aidan Hutchinson. The Detroit Lions would be a perfect fit for Williams. Not only would he bolster a defensive line that struggled last season due to injuries, but he would also be in an ideal situation to continue to excel and compete for more Super Bowls alongside an elite pass rusher like Hutchinson. Kay said, Williams' Super Bowl numbers justify the hype surrounding him. On one of the NFL's biggest stages, he recorded 4 pressures, 2 sacks, and even forced a fumble, a performance that was crucial to the Eagles' defense's success that night. His regular season was also productive, with 40 pressures and 6 sacks, which is why he's garnering so much attention this offseason. But does this move really make sense for the Lions? And more importantly, would the projected 4-year, $50 million contract Kay is offering fit into the team strategy? The answer to both questions is not so simple. While Williams is a talented player and has shown great potential, there are some questions about his fit in Detroit. The Lions already have a solid defensive tackle at the same position in Alim McNeill, who recently signed a contract extension. That means bringing in Williams, especially on a multi-million-dollar deal, could be too much of an investment for a player who may not be an immediate starter. Detroit does need to strengthen its defensive line, but spending a large sum to bring in a player who would have to compete with McNeill and DJ Reader for rotation space may not be the best strategy. Instead, the Lions could explore other more financially viable options, such as keeping Levi Onwuzurike on the roster and looking for a promising player in the draft. If the goal is to add depth to the interior of the defensive line without compromising too much cap space, a name like Javon Kinlaw, for example, could be a much more attractive option. The defensive tackle, who is also available in free agency, could be signed to a 1-year, $7 million contract, offering an immediate boost without compromising long-term financial planning. Ultimately, signing Milton Williams may seem appealing at first, but given the context of the roster and the options available, the Lions may have smarter options to bolster their defense without compromising cap space too much. Given that the Lions already have Alim McNeill as the centerpiece of their defensive line, is it worth investing a $1 million contract in Milton Williams? Or would the team be better off exploring cheaper options in the draft or free agency? To me, although Williams is a talented player and shined in the Super Bowl, his signing by the Lions seems like a questionable investment, considering the amount involved and the presence of McNeill and DJ Reader at the position. Detroit needs to bolster its defensive line, but spending $50 million on a player who may not be an immediate starter doesn't seem like the smartest decision. More strategic moves, such as a shorter contract for a player like Javon Kinlaw or a draft pick, would make much more sense to maintain the team's financial flexibility. Leave your comment now. It will be very important for you to give your opinion too. Don't forget to leave your like to support the channel. Until next time.